Hey everybody and welcome to another video! And today we're going to be talking about what it's like to come out as a trans feminine woman at work. And it's been pretty interesting. A lot of stuff has happened, especially since I've been gone. A lot of stuff has happened. Let's get into it. So, in case you don't know me, I am Jenny Bean, and I work a very physical job out in the public. And for the last year, I have been coming out at work. I've actually been transitioning the whole time that I've worked for this company. Literally, only half the time that I've worked for them, they've known that I've been trans. And the reason for that was, honestly, I've dealt with a lot of fear throughout my whole transition. There's been a common theme throughout my transition of having to adjust to many different social norms, learning how to be a woman, learning how to do all kinds of stuff like my makeup, fashion, and all kinds of other stuff. Along with, if you've kept up with any of my other videos, I had a rough coming out. I had to basically grow up a lot in the last like 2.5 years. I'm still struggling with that. I still struggle at work because I've been used to presenting as male for most of my life until, I realized that I was a woman and it was time to bring that part of myself out into the world. And the reason why I wanted to is because I was getting a lot of dysphoria, which is basically a really bad feeling you get from people like misgendering you, calling you a name that you don't identify with anymore. I am Jenny. My name is Jenny. I want to be called Jenny. And I've been called my dead name, and a dead name is your birth name that was given to you by your parents. I've been called my dead name for most of the time that I've been employed at this place, and eventually it started to actually get extremely dysphoric. So I had been talking with my partners for a long while now about how I've been feeling inside and how being called my dead name was really starting to get to me. I hated being called sir all the time, and it just became really uncomfortable. And at the same time, I think about 6 months before I actually came out at work, I ended up starting wearing my bras with padding in them. I started wearing makeup. And as time went on, people started having more and more questions like, why are you wearing makeup? Makeup was the main thing for me. That's what they were asking about, because obviously the stereotypical norm is that men don't wear makeup. So yeah, I looked pretty out there for a lot of people. So as the dysphoria kept building and building and building, and I kept getting more and more uncomfortable, I was like, okay, I gotta do this. I gotta do it. I just gotta come out and do it. I gotta get it over with. But the problem is with coming out at work is that there is a possibility that you may lose your job or get discriminated upon. That's one thing that was my biggest fear was, it was a whole assortment of things. Will I be treated differently? Will I actually be discriminated upon as far as like, how will I be treated at work afterwards, after I come out? Will I be mistreated at work? Will I be called names? Will they dead name me out of spite? Will they do this, that, and the other? There was many things to worry about, and they're all valid things to worry about because unfortunately that's the world that we live in. It's cruel, it's unjust, and people do this. So I had all this to worry about. But the dysphoria was beating out the comfort, the staying, presenting as a guy. It was in a way easier because then it didn't mean that I have to go through the process of coming out. But it would have been harder in the long run because then, one of the things that was on my mind is that I felt like I was betraying myself by not coming out as Jenny. I felt like I wasn't giving myself the opportunity to really be myself full time because I needed that so badly at the time. I was still pretty closeted and I was struggling with that. So on the one hand, it might have been easier coming from the place that I was before, as far as looking into coming out, but in the long run, I knew it would be better if I came out as Jenny and take the risk. I did. I ended up telling my partners, hey, I think I'm gonna do this. I think it's time for me to come out. I think it's time for me to become Jenny full time every day. And that means at work. So I started writing up an email. Now, coming out at work can actually be an HR nightmare. So, because as soon as you come out, a lot of companies will see you as a liability because of the way that other people might treat us. And because we're a representative of the company, that's a problem, meaning I could be the problem. So the way that I kind of approached this, I wrote the email in a way where I said, basically, my name is Jenny. I have been transitioning for the last year and a half. And you all probably have noticed that I've been wearing makeup. You all have probably noticed that I've been changing my body figure quite a bit lately. You can see my body changing and all that. It's because I am transgender. And then the approach that I took after that was, hey, this is a huge step for me. I want you and the management team to know that I'm trans. I want you all to call me Jenny and call me by my pronouns, she, her. And as far as the rest of my coworkers, I would only come out to them as needed. That way it took some pressure off of them. And I also told them if I ever have a problem with anybody, that I would simply separate myself from that person. Simply. We all know that's a little bit more complicated, but at least I was trying to get their minds, I was trying to put their minds at ease, saying, hey, we're going to approach this in a responsible way. I'm going to approach this in a responsible way. If I have any problems, I'll come to you and we'll resolve this in the most civil way possible. But if we can't, then I will simply distance myself from those people. So I kind of tried to put some of the responsibility on my shoulders. That way I was trying to keep myself from becoming as much of a liability as possible. You have to be very tactful when it comes to coming out to a company. Now, luckily, with my company, they do have policies that are LGBTQ friendly. If you knew the company that I work for, you'd probably call BS on that, to be completely honest, as far as the way as they treat their employees. But hey, it's where I work, you know. I can't exactly pick and choose at the moment. The freaking employment situation here in the United States is freaking terrible. So I didn't hear anything back from them until my next day of work, and I went up to my boss and I asked him, hey, did you get my email? He said he did, and that he wanted to pull me aside, and that's what we did. He said, we'll have no problem calling you by your chosen name and by she, her, but just give some of us some time to get used to it, because it's going to be pretty hard for us to all of a sudden turn around and call you by a different name when we've been calling you by your dead name the whole time. He didn't say it that way, but that's the gist of it. And that was great. Like, he was super supportive, and him, especially my boss, has been really on top of calling me by my chosen name. So I'm really grateful for that. However, it's not all sunshines and rainbows. Some people pretty much met me halfway by calling me Jay. They just call me Jay because it's easier for them to wrap their head around that for some reason. I don't know why. I don't necessarily like it, but I don't really want to make an argument out of it. Whether or not I should is kind of up in the air. Everybody's going to have their opinion about that, but I would just... Jay is fine, because it is what it is. I try not to be too much of a burden. I try not to start fights or anything. I try not to get in people's way by saying, I mean, the worst I would do is ask them, hey, could you call me this name? Could you call me Jenny? That's the worst that I would do, obviously. And I don't know, it just comes down to me being kind of nervous to do that, you know? I'm still human. I'm still scared, you know? I don't want to look like a... I know it won't be me being a jerk to be asked to be called my chosen name, but it's just me personally. I'm still a bit too afraid to do that all the time. So I'll just, for some people, I'll just let them call me Jay. That's fine. But there has been quite a few people who have explicitly called me Jenny and have absolutely stuck with that. My boss is a good example of that. And even some of my coworkers, they heard that my name was Jenny and they stuck with it immediately. In fact, there's some coworkers I didn't even really talk to that eventually have actually become some of my friends at work and have defended my name because another issue that kind of happened is accidentally dead naming me, because when they call out our names for roll call, you know, there was a problem with, you know, on legal documents, they won't be able to change my name on there because those are legal documents. I am not legally known as Janet yet. I haven't changed my name yet. So it still pops up as my dead name on the paperwork, and sometimes they call my dead name out for roll call, but some of my coworkers have actually been like, hey, her name is Jenny, please call her that. Even if because I remember one day they called roll call, they said dead name, and I just kind of went, ugh, like I flinched, but I kind of just walked away and let it go because I knew he didn't mean it. I could tell he didn't mean it, so I wasn't going to make a big stink of it. Plus, we had to go out and do what we had to do real quick. But one of my coworkers actually went up and said, hey, her name's Jenny, can you please call her that? And then luckily, he came over and he apologized and said, I'm still learning, give me some time. It's hard going from one name to the other. And I'm like, I understand, no big deal. I'm not... You didn't hurt me. You're fine. I am very understanding when it comes to this because even I screw up names. Even I screw up pronouns. I unfortunately do it all the time because just the way I was raised, everything is so gendered. It sometimes my brain reverts back to that and I have to correct myself and I have to apologize and I have to do the same thing. So I've been in their shoes. I'm still kind of in their shoes. So I'm very lenient with that. But there are still some people who still call me my dead name no matter what. I just don't go around those people. I just, like I said in the email, I just straight up will not go around those people. I just don't confront them. I just disengage. Sometimes that's the best thing you can do, is just try your best to disengage from people the best you can. And just try not to let it get to you. Just try not to let it get to you. And let bygones be bygones. Because people are going to have their opinions about you no matter what. And there's just nothing you can really do about that. A lot of people are dead set in their ways. And that sucks. But honestly, I've had such a good reception at work with my name. People call me by my chosen name, and most people get everything correct. And I've had people know that I'm trans there now, and honestly, I haven't been treated any differently. People don't look at me that differently. People are usually pretty respectful. And it's been really nice. Now, I'm in a field of work where that's honestly, transitioning is not that big of a deal. We've actually had quite a few queer people within our company. And I've seen and heard a little bit of harassment here and there. But with the company that I'm with, it seems like everything's good. Now, everybody out there, you still have to be careful because, like, there are different fields where... Butterfly. Sorry, distracted. There are certain fields where people will be discriminatory. There are jobs where, you know, the worst may happen, and I completely understand that. I've gotten pretty lucky with all this stuff. Now, the big thing, I work in the public. How in the world has that gone? So me, I deal with the public every single day. I go out as Jenny every single day. I put the way that I present myself out to the public is I wear my bra with my pads in it. I wear makeup. I especially make sure that I have lipstick on because, you know, girl. I try to present myself as femininely as possible. And I've gotten a lot better at my voice. I mean, I'm not warmed up right now, but this right here is my feminine voice right here. This is usually how I sound whenever I go out and meet customers. So usually when I'm using this voice and I'm presenting completely femme, it's either I get no reaction from the people who I'm interacting with, or every once in a while, they call me ma'am, they call me miss. Or when, let's say if they're having a bit of a conversation and they say something about me, they'll say she or her. So yeah, it's honestly, and that's been more the case as of late. That's been more the case as of late. Now, before, when I didn't know how to do my makeup as well, or I didn't have as much booba, which unfortunately, I've learned that boob size actually does contribute to the way you look feminine, and I'll get into that in a whole different video. But as far as presenting yourself out in public as feminine and wanting to be passable, the boobs have a big part in that, unfortunately. I learned that the hard way. So that's why I usually wear push-up bras while I'm out. Girlies, push-up bras are great if you want to be gender correctly. Trust me, if you got B cups like I do, or A cups, go with the push-up bra. Trust me, big help. Big help. Can't do that all the time because of hot weather, but I try to do it as much as I can. I've mentioned this before. I know I've mentioned this before at one point, but there's been days where I'm like, I got gendered correctly. I got called she, her. Oh my gosh, and my coworkers defended me. And blah, 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 blah. I just still come home and I'm like, people see me as a woman. People see me as me. Yes. Also, I still gotta be quiet about this because my parents are still transphobic and homophobic and I still currently live with them. So yeah. Everything's been, honestly, fantastic so far. I still have to be careful around certain people. I work in very rural areas. Through my experience, I haven't had anything bad happen to me. I haven't had very many bad instances of people interacting with me as of late. However, you still have to keep vigilant because of the current political climate. When you deal with the public, you have to be careful. That is a constant. I don't care where you are, you have to be careful as a trans woman, or even if you're gay, or if you're part of the LGBTQ community, you have to be careful out there. Because even though, like in my situation, everything has been fine so far, all it takes is that one person. So just keep that in mind. I keep this in mind every single day. Safety is your number one priority. Safety has always been my number one priority with all of this. Keep yourself safe and make sure that you can get yourself out of a bad situation if you end up in one. So anyway, overall, coming out at work has been actually pretty fantastic for me. People have been very supportive of me, so that's my story. Out of all the fear of rejection and fear of being treated as other or whatever, nothing bad has happened so far, which I can't be any more thankful for that. I'm so thankful. Oh my gosh. The amount of stress that went into all of this was immense. Sending out that email to my boss was nerve-wracking because I was afraid something would happen. Going out dressed feminine for the first, month or two was nerve-wracking the whole time because I always look at other people's reactions towards me. And yeah, so far, so good. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a comment. I love to hear from all of y'all out there. And you know what time it is. Hey, go brush your teeth. Go take a shower. Put deodorant on. Drink some water. Go outside and touch some grass. I mean, look, I'm touching grass. There's grass everywhere out here. There's grass. Go outside and touch real grass. Take care of yourself, my beans. Bye. Bye-bye. 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 What? Now if I could just stop recording.